Ange Postecoglou needs to walk away from Tottenham. Hey guys, I'm back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to centre around Tottenham, around Ange Postecoglou after what has been another defeat today by Spurs at the hands of, this time, Newcastle United, high-flying Newcastle United, after a 2-1 victory for the Magpies at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today. Goals from Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak helped the Magpies on their way to victory. Another defeat for Tottenham, another victory for Newcastle, and that makes high-flying Newcastle continue to fight for Champions League places up the table, whilst condemning Spurs to yet another home defeat and another loss at home. Another loss at home. They have not won at home since the beginning of November. We're going to be mainly talking about Tottenham in this video, though. We're going to be mainly talking about the club itself, the season that's been, the season that looks to be ahead for them. And, of course, the main question, how much time does Ange Postecoglou have at the helm as head coach of Tottenham Hotspur, as well as other things in between, I'm sure, in regards to manager, players, board, Daniel Levy himself, the club overall. We're going to get into all of that, but before we all do, may I just remind you to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section, of course. I'm sure this is a very interesting and very opinionated topic. So your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, will make for great interest in reading, I'm sure, down below. So please do use and abuse that comment section, people, and talk to me on all of this, because I'm sure, like I say, it'll all make for great and interesting reading. So get down below and tell me all about it. But before you do, let's get on with the video. Let's talk Tottenham. Let's talk Postecoglou. Let's talk the squad. Let's talk the game. Let's talk everything to do with Spurs. 3, 2, 1, go. In my opinion, Ange Postecoglou needs to leave. Ange Postecoglou is a very, very stubborn manager. You can see that in his approach. You can see that in his defiance, that he definitely will win Spurs some level of silverware. You can see it in his tactical approach. You can see it with the players that he has at his disposal. They don't quite fit in with his system, but Jesus Christ, is he trying to make it fit? Jesus Christ, is he trying to turn put square pegs in round holes? And I would probably go as far as to say that he himself is a square peg in a round hole as well at Tottenham. Don't get me wrong, I like him. I did like him ever since he walked through the door. I liked his charisma. I like how he came across. I like how, you know, he seemed like a genuine nice guy, genuine just, you know, down to earth sort of guy. Very charismatic, very likeable in his approach and the way that he talked to the media and in his interviews and press conferences and things of that nature. I can understand why Tottenham fans really took to this guy when he started out there. But as you can see over time, he's seemingly become sadder. He's seemingly become more broken. He's seemingly become more frustrated, shall we say, that things aren't exactly going according to plan, going his way, going the way that the opening 10 to 15 games of last season seemed to go for him when he first walked through the door at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And there are a lot of different factors for why Tottenham's season is seemingly falling apart before our very eyes. Many people will put it down to injuries. Many people will put it down to Postecoglou's stubbornness. Many people probably put it down to the players actually not performing very well. Many people probably put it to the board and the club for building such a weak team. And I honestly agree with all of the above. I think it is genuinely all of the above. I think it is down to the players, the manager, the board. Everybody involved at Tottenham needs to take a long, hard look at themselves and take accountability for what has been a very underwhelming and poor season for Spurs. Now, the players have been underperforming. I get that. But the board also need to take a hard, long look at themselves as well, because they've helped build this team. And this team is not a great team whatsoever. And part of the reason why I call for Ange to walk away is because things aren't exactly going to get any better. Spurs don't really build a team with much thought as to seemingly who they have as manager, what are his tactics on the pitch. They seemingly just go, he's cheap, He's a bargain. He could make us some profit later on down the line. Let's bring them all in, shall we? Yeah, solid. Instead, in an ideal world, Postecoglou's tactics would actually work if he had the first or second best team in the league. But of course, Tottenham are not that. If Postecoglou was to go back to Scotland with Celtic, his tactics would work. He goes to a team that is constantly on the front foot. He goes to a team where many teams are afraid to attack them. He goes to a team in which they have the best players in the league. Postecoglou's tactics would work to perfection. In this situation, he doesn't have those. There are a couple of gems in there, sure. But they're not. But the overall team isn't built. It's not built for him. It's built for a manager who can work under those restrictions to get the best out of those kinds of players. The board need to take a hard, long look at themselves, and Spurs fans need to do more. Because when I say for Ange to walk away because things aren't going to get any better, the reason is that you're not going to get Daniel Levy out. The only way to get Daniel Levy out is if a crazy, stupidly rich, oil money, Saudi Arabian, Qatarian, whoever's got like a mad pot of bottomless wealth is going to come in and make him an offer he can't refuse. And let's face it, Spurs are in a fantastic position with a lot of potential to grow even more so than what they are. As far as businesses goes, Tottenham is a fantastically well-run business, but they are not a football club for their fans or for the people. And Daniel Levy's at the helm of it. Daniel Levy's the face of that. And until Tottenham fans do something about it and try and hit him and obviously the owners where it hurts the most, he's going to be sticking around for a long time. And that's why I say that if it came a choice of who's going to leave first, Postecoglou or Levy, Levy's definitely not going to be leaving anytime soon. There's too much money to be made with Spurs. But Postecoglou would be easy to get rid of. Not just because he will have no say in the matter, but he could also just walk away of his own accord whilst keep his head held high whilst it still kind of is for the time being. I'm just saying, like, with the way that Spurs are run right now, it's not helping Postecoglou at all. We know Postecoglou himself is stubborn. We know he is not very flexible when it comes to his tactics. And we are seeing that week in, week out, by the way. I mean, take today's game, for example. I know that obviously injuries, sickness bug have been ripping through that Spurs team. But even when you look at the squad, the attack is okay. The midfield's okay. The defence, apart from Pedro Porro, is makeshift. I'll give you that. Goalkeeper's your third choice. I get that. But there's still enough there to work with. I've seen managers go through worse injury crises and still manage to come out smelling of roses a little bit. They just adapt more. I've seen Liverpool go to their 8th or 9th choice centre-back pairing and still manage to come out third in the league. It's still there. It just needs to be changed and adapted upon. But he doesn't do that. And I've said time and time again, this man is style over substance. This man has no flexibility whatsoever when it comes to his tactics, no adaptation. It just seems like they go to training each and every single day and work on the same things each and every single day, regardless of the level of opposition that is thrown in front of them. They could go and beat Southampton, but then they play the same way against Southampton that they do against Liverpool, who are top of the league. Polar opposite teams. But he will still play the same way. So whilst it is on the board that the players aren't good enough, signing players like Timo Werner, no one in their right mind signs Timo Werner. He's god-awful. No one in their right mind would probably sign Dragusin as well. He's terrible. And just to prove a point of how terrible Dragusin is, he was terrible today, by the way, against Newcastle. Probably gave up both goals that Tottenham conceded. But just to prove an even bigger point as to how terrible Dragusin is, he's got an 18-year-old makeshift defender in Archie Gray next to him. He's not a defender, he's more of a midfielder. But he's still playing as a centre-back. He's still having to be a makeshift centre-back because of the injuries that you seemingly have. And yet he's still performing better than your actual centre-back. That's crazy to me. It's even more crazy that a couple of weeks ago when you lost to Liverpool 6-3, Ryan Gravenberch came out after the game and said, we targeted Dragusin. We targeted Dragusin in our approach play, in our gameplay, because we sensed a weakness there. Not Archie Gray, not the 18-year-old makeshift centre-back. He's not the weakest point of the defence. Your natural-based centre-back is your weakest point of the defence. Make it make sense to me, people. Make it make sense to me how that can actually be. I'm not saying Postecoglou is blameless. Like I say, his lack of flexibility is definitely a problem. I think sometimes, like all managers have, some of his tactics and some of his team selections often leave a lot to be desired. Like, if there was... I know, obviously, like I say, there's been a sickness bug this week, but not playing James Maddison, not playing Heung-min Son, but playing the likes of, Timo Werner ahead of him. Playing Dragusin at centre-back when you should have gone with a seemingly more competent, Jed Spence at centre-back alongside Archie Gray. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me on that. Players performing poorly, yes, that's to be expected. You are Tottenham after all, but you get what I mean. You get what I mean. And for me, he just needs to walk away. It's not getting any better. Take today's game as prime example. If Newcastle really wanted to win that game and just control that game, I think they would have done. Newcastle won that game without really coming out of second gear. They really, really did. I think they probably had maybe one eye on the Arsenal game in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup midweek. Maybe that was the case for them. But at the same time, I just feel like if that wasn't a factor, Newcastle could have really just ran the show today. First off, I thought Newcastle were really good. Apart from the opening 5 to 10 minutes maybe, I thought Newcastle were really, really good first half. Had a couple of good opportunities. Probably should have stuck a couple more away. Really could have killed the game off in the opening 45 minutes. Second half comes around. Tottenham improve. But they don't really do anything. They're toothless in the final third. They create some good opportunities, but not good chances. And the difference I'll say with opportunities is there is an opportunity to create a chance. A chance is where you have an attempt on goal. An opportunity is where you can work an opportunity to create a chance on goal. In my personal opinion, I know that might differ for a lot of you, but that's just the way that my thought process goes when people say opportunities and chances. They had a lot of opportunities, but they didn't create a lot of chances. The only chance I really remember them creating forced a real good save from the Newcastle goalkeeper, Dubravka, and the rebound was smashed onto the post. That's really the only good chance I remember Tottenham really having. Other than that, opportunities, couple of balls flashed across the 6-yard area and across the face of goal. And then I think Dom Solanke had a soft header that was comfortably caught by Dubravka again. Other than that, I don't really remember Spurs doing anything. And that's kind of been a lot of what Spurs' season has been. Defensively, they're open. Defensively, Newcastle, Liverpool, Chelsea, whoever, cut them apart at will. And then attacking-wise, yeah, because of the attacking play that they play, they are going to create something. How many of something depends on how ruthless they can be on the day. But given their attacking play, they obviously will create something. They're known as the great entertainers for a reason. But that entertainment dwindles when they're failing to control games, when they're losing games, when we're seeing the same song and dance play out before our very eyes week in, week out. And it's due to a squad that has been built poorly, and it is down to a manager who fails to adapt to the situation that is in front of him. In my opinion, Postecoglou needs to walk away. And I hear the argument of, Well, who do you bring in afterwards? Because you've tried Antonio Conte, you've tried Jose Mourinho, you've tried Nuno Espirito Santo. You need to find a manager that is going to work within the restrictions of Daniel Levy. Nuno Espirito Santo is a fantastic example, because look at the way that he was performing with Spurs, and now look at the way he's doing with Forest. He's given time, and he's getting the best out of the players that he has got there. Look at the way the Brighton manager's doing the same. Look at the way of Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth. I wouldn't necessarily say that they have better sides and better squads than Spurs, but they are getting the most out of those players. They are seeing the restrictions they're in and going, right, we need to find a few gems here. This guy may not be as good as this guy, but you know what? He's got something that he doesn't. We're bringing him in, and we're going to really fine-tune him. He's a little bit green around the edges, but we're going to shed that off, and we're going to make him look like a star that a big team's going to come in for, and they're going to pay way over the odds to try and sign him. That's what those kinds of teams do. Tottenham, they just don't know their place right now. They don't know their place right now. They want to be near the top, but they're not. But they're also too good for relegation. They are somewhere in the middle, but they don't know their place. And if they don't know their place, and their fans don't know their place, how am I, from the outside looking in, supposed to know where their place is either? It's hard to tell whether or not they're punching above their weight, or whether they're underperforming, or whether they are actually performing at expectation. That is a concern, in my opinion, for Spurs. Bring in a manager who knows and has experience of dealing with these kind of restrictions. A Brendan Rodgers, for example. A Brendan Rodgers, a Thomas Frank, maybe. Dare I even say David Moyes? Dare I even say David freaking Moyes? Because that's the situation. And Postecoglou can go, and he can go to a team that is one of the top 2 or top 3 in a league somewhere, and his football will flourish. He'll get the players that are ones of the best in that league, and that football will look great. And he'll be performing above expectation, and he'll be considered wonderful. But he can't flourish and he can't flower at a team that is not giving him the resources he needs, giving him the squad that he needs, giving him the tools to succeed. That's just my opinion on this Ange Postecoglou situation. Look, guys, this has been all the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of Spurs? What do you make of the performance and the result today? What do you make of Postecoglou? How long will Postecoglou stay as manager of Tottenham for? Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on this topic and situation down below in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you all down there. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone so much for watching. Thank you all for your brand new or either continued support. If you are brand new, welcome along to the journey and the channel. Hope you are doing fine, my friends. Thank you all for the support. Very much appreciated. Never ever will be taken for granted. And you guys are just awesome for all of that. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.